Welcome back to the Wolf Pack. Today we're talking all about tend. So ultimately, your goal in this game is to score the most amount of points. And one big way to score is at the end of certain rounds. At the end of certain seasons is you're gonna have a condition set out and you want to meet those conditions before the end. That way you can score some big points. Your goal in this game is to build the best farm and gather the most resources to send back to a corporation. On your turn, you can take two actions and you're gonna look at the cards right in front of you. Let's talk first about chopping and mining. So chopping, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this thick silver coin and you're going to open up and scratch off a box on the woods area, on the top row. When you do that, it's going to show a brand new resource for you to use. And that's like the biggest thing about tend is that whatever resource you get, you can spend it a ton of different ways. So keep that in mind as you're looking at the actions throughout this game. So if I opened up this one, which is a purple log, that means I can level up my chopping. So I can take my black pen here and I'm going to cross off level 1 chopping. And that's gonna also give me a coin to use. So now I have a coin and I have a log. And I'm gonna look around my sheet to see where I can spend those resources. So I'm actually gonna use my coin first towards an energy bar. And reason why is because there are only 12 rounds in this game and it's going to be very limited actions. So to help compensate for that, you can have energy bars. So if I spend 3 coins here, I can get an energy bar and later on I can take additional actions. Now the second thing I had was a log. So I'm looking around my sheets again and I'm like, you know what? I want to do some groundskeeping because I want to get some livestock in my farm later on. So to do that, I'm going to spend that log and then just draw 2 double lines over here. And that's gonna make some progress towards my fence. And ultimately that is the woods. So I can scratch off any part of the woods I want. And if I really wanna go fast, you can follow the road. Reason why is because sometimes it'll give you some hatchet icons and that's gonna allow you to do another scratch off here. But you can't go to the level 2 woods until you have an upgraded hatchet. Well, how do you get a hatchet, Tim? Well, to upgrade your hatchet, you're gonna have to spend the resources listed in this section here in equipment upgrades, which will be some ore, a pass, and some coins for you. Once you have all those things, you can have a level 2 hatchet. And not only can you scratch off 2 spaces at once in the top section, but you can now explore the thicker part of the woods. Now, once you reach the bottom of the woods, you can unlock lake fishing. This is how you unlock new areas in the game. All of that was action number 1. Now, action number 2 is mining. And mining actually works the exact same way as chopping. You're gonna take your thick coin, scratch off the top row, and just unveil and use those resources as you go. If you unlock the very bottom, you get grotto fishing. Next up, let's talk about fishing. So fishing, you're gonna take these 2 dice, roll them, and here I rolled a 1 and a 2. So I'm gonna follow along the row here, and it says here for my black 1 and a white 2, I get this fish, which is super cool because now I can spend it a couple of different ways. So one way you can spend resources, not only can you use them towards your sheets here, but you can also sell them to the corporate commissary. If I were to sell this fish, it would give me 3 coins. Another way I can spend this fish is by actually putting it into my cargo manifest. You heard earlier that if I were to meet a season 1 objective by the end of that specific round, which would be round 5, as of the state of this current prototype, if I were to meet those conditions, that's one way to score points, which in this case would be gain 4 points for each good in your cargo catalog of size 2. Well, my fish, conveniently enough, is a size 2 fish. So I'm actually gonna take that fish and then stamp on my cargo catalog a size 2 fish, which will now give me some extra points, not only in the season 1 end objective, but by the end of the game, the cargo catalog also counts for points too. And because I am putting a blue fish in this blue section, all of my fish are gonna be worth 2 points each at the end of the game instead of just 1 per good. Another way I can spend fish is by giving it to my neighbor. Now, if you did want to gift resources to your neighbor, you can go up along social rewards. There's a left social reward and a right social reward, depending on who you're sitting around with around the table. So if I were to give this fish, it would give me 2 neighbor bonuses, which means I level up twice on the social reward track. And just like that, I gain an ore and I gain a passport, which I can use immediately. So we've gone over mining, fishing, chopping. Last action that you can take is tending, the name of the game itself. So tending gives you a couple of different options. But first off, you can plant a crop. However, in order to plant a crop, you need to plow 4 times because crops can only be planted on tilled areas. So if I were to till this area over here, I now have a 3x3 grid, which means I can put a 3x3 die right on that grid on number 1, because these plants are going to grow during the growth phase of each round, which we'll get to later on. Another cool thing about the plants is if you plant them adjacent to each other, like if I were to plant this thick pumpkin next to the magenta crop, then as a tend action, I can water these plants and they're gonna tick up twice together. So probably the final way that you can score points in this game is by using your resources and allocating them towards badges. So if you mark off these badges, if you mark off a row, you're gonna gain a medallion. With the medallion, you're gonna reference this corporate commissary board here. That can give you 3 coins, or if you put it in your manifest, it's gonna score you some big row products. Now, after you mark off each row, you then gain the badge itself, which in this case, the general's badge is 20 points. And if we scan all the way up here to the projects, there's one specific project I wanted to point out called the Woods Explorer. This one says it doubles the point value of all your badges. So ultimately, if you get both of those, it would be 40 points overall, which is a ton of points in this game. Now, the projects is also kind of like a side area where you can convert coins into different resources as well. So let's zoom back out, right? On your turn, you're gonna take 2 actions from the cards available right here in front of you. You can tend, chop, mine, and fish. Once you finish the 2 actions, then you're gonna go onwards towards the neighbor phase. If you gave some neighbor cards away, you can then draw 2 more neighbor cards, pick one of those, and that's going to be your next set of goals that you can give off to your next neighbor. After the neighbor phase, it's gonna go into the scoring phase, which again, for the first couple rounds, there won't be any scoring, but on round 5, you're gonna score points for if you met the goal in the season 1 objective, and then season 2 and 3 as you get to those rounds. After the scoring phase, it goes into the setup. So here, your card actions are going to reset, go into a discard pile, you get some new action cards, and then after that, you also gain some new season cards as well. And these are much more powerful than your standard actions because they give you options. Like in this case, the novice miner says you can tend or mine, and then if you already have 2 mining levels, you can then gain the resources listed below. So the actions get stronger and stronger as you progress in this game. Now, lastly is the growth phase. So earlier we were talking about fences and building them off, right? Well, if you have a full enclosure, you can then pay some coins to gain some livestock. So let's say I wanted to spend 2 coins to get this purple egg. I'm gonna put this at 1. So now, because we're in the growth phase, everything's gonna tick up, your plants and your animals. So my egg is gonna go from 1 to 2, and then all my crops are gonna go from 1 to 2 as well. And then when you reach this icon, which is the white background icon, you're gonna gain that resource. And again, now you know, you can spend that a ton of different ways, right? I can give it to my neighbor, I can spend it towards my cargo catalog, sell it to the corporate commissary, or use it on my sheets to upgrade different equipment or fix broken bridges, and so on. And that right there is a preview / overview of how Tend works. So if you have any questions about this game, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much to Ivy Studios for sponsoring today's preview video. And if you made it here to the very, very end, go ahead and comment thick down in the comments below. And I'll see you all in the next one.